Hi everyone, in this video I would like to go over tutorial number 6. In class today Microsoft Access was not cooperating with me, so let me go over tutorial 6 real quick here. That might help you with your project as well as with the assignment that is due for this particular tutorial. So there are different ways that we can look at or verify that we have a lookup field. For example, in the billing table, I can see that invoice item is a lookup. And if you look here in the lookup button in the bottom here, you can see that the display control is combo box, and there are 3 types of boxes. We have a text box, we have a list box, and we have a combo box. So for lookup tables, for lookup fields, combo boxes are more helpful and much better user friendly. So we will select combo box, at least for this particular one, and that's how we can see what data type it is. Another thing that this chapter talks about is the relationships. So when you create a relationship, usually it looks like this. It doesn't have a one-to-many. It just looks blank, solid line between the 2 tables. For that, in order to enforce referential integrity and cascade updates, you will need to right-click on this guy first, and then edit relationship and select those 2 guys, enforce referential integrity and cascade updates. What this does, basically, it will not allow you to put any invoice item that is not existing in the invoice item table. That's what we mean by referential integrity. And cascade updates, basically, if you updated anything in the original table, which is in the invoice item table, it will automatically reflect the updates in the billing table, and that's why we select those 2 guys. And I hope that makes sense. And now let's move on and see what else the book talks about. The book talks about actually documentation, and they talk about relationship reports. For example, here relationships can be reported by going first to relationships and then by selecting the relationship report under design. And this is what you have a nice report. You can save it, and you can even export it as a PDF and submit it if it is required for your assignment. Right, so now there is also another documentation tool that is provided to you under database tools called database documenter. So you can document tables, queries, forms, reports, macros, or whatever you want, any of the objects that are all available for you here. So in this case, let's start with just documenting the visit, going through options, and then the book asks you to select those particular selections. Now if I click OK, I will see a really nice documentation about the visit table. It shows me the relationships that are connected from visit table to the other tables. It shows me also the data size and the data type and so on. I can always also save this as a PDF, and this is how it will look like, and then I can save it, and for someone who will come and continue working in this database after you. So now let's move on to the next step here, creating forms using different form tools. So you can create a form, for example, using datasheet. This is how it will look like. Not really helpful, but some people might want you to create a form that way. And then split form. This is a split form. Basically, it shows you the form in the form and also the datasheet form and so on. Now you can actually work with this guy here. You can organize these guys, by selecting this guy, and then the book asks you to select some of those and move them to the right side. So for that you will need to remove layout first and then move them here. Okay, so and then the book also talks about anchoring. So you will need to select the control that you want to anchor and then select the particular anchor that is requested from you. So the purpose of anchoring, as I mentioned in class, is that it helps when people have different screen resolutions, and the form might look funny and different in different screens or monitors. So that's why we use the anchoring. Now let's move on and see what else we can do here. There is another option that we can do. We can create a form using custom form in design view. So for that I will create a blank and then go to design view. So blank form and then design view. Now in this particular case it is asking me to select the source or the data source for this particular form. In this particular form the data source for me is it's requesting me to select the table visit as a data source. So what I can do here is clicking on this guy in the left corner, and then I'll go to property sheet all, and I will see here whether this one is bound form or unbound form. So the bound form basically has a source as a query or a table, but if it is unbound form, then it is gonna be with no source at all. And one case that we can use a unbound form is when we are creating a switchboard. Let's say here this is a label. I need a label, and I can call it here switchboard. The switchboard, and then you can format this guy, and then I'll or I can call it the main menu for your project, for example, and then I'll get design and add another label or button that will take me to a certain form. So now you can see this command button will open a form. Let's open a particular form I want it to open, let's say the patient form, and just go next, 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 and finish. So now when I activate this guy, I have a switchboard or a main menu, and then I can command this one to open the patient form for me. Here we go. It opens the patient form for me, so I can create a new record about patient from scratch and so on. But this is what we mean by unbound form. It doesn't have a source, and you manipulate it the way you want. So again, it doesn't have a source. Now in the book asks you actually to create blank form, and then they want you to create to use the data to use a custom form in design view. So for that one we have here, I will click on this guy to select this form, and then I will go to property sheet. I want to select visit table as my source. Now if I click on adding existing fields, I have all the controls, all the fields that are in the visit table. So now it's asking me here in the book to select certain items such as visit date, for example. Just double click on him, patient ID, reason, and comments, and walk-in. Now it also asks me to move the walk-in control to here, and then it asks me to align it to the top. So now it is aligned with this guy. Alright, now I have a nice custom form that can move with me. Now let's see what else it is asking me to do. It's asking me also to use a lookup, but let's use a lookup for the title and next to the title for later, because now I have the patient ID anyways. So now let's say that I need to add a title for this form. I can call it here visit and billing, just an example. Now it is asking me to if I can create a lookup field for visits where I can select the visit. I'm going to lookup field here where I can select the visit and brings me all the information I need about a particular visit. So for that, what I can do is what happened today in class actually didn't show me the wizard. The problem was because this one was not activated in the class. So this guy, so you will need, if this happens to you, that for some reason the wizard doesn't show up. For example, here, this is what happened to me in class today. I was trying to click on say combo box, which is this guy. I'll put it here, nothing happens, the wizard doesn't come up, and the reason was because this wizard control was not activated. I need to click on this guy. So now let's do this. I will just delete this guy, activate, make sure that the use or the control wizard is activated. Is it activated? Yeah, I can see it, it's highlighted. Now if I click on the combo box and put it here, definitely I got what I have here. I got the combo box wizard. So in order to find, because I want to find a record by selecting it from the visit table, so that's what I will do. I will select this last option, and then and then I will go and select what I really want from here. So let's see. Oh, but before that, I already have the visit as my source. Yep. So just double check that I already have the visit as my source. Yes, I have it as my source. So delete this guy and start from scratch again. So that's what I did, and then go next. And then what I will select here is combo box. And I will find it from my form based on the value I provide, and then I will select the visit ID. Next, and then I call it here, give it the name for the label, find or select visit. Alright, so I'll just click OK and then activate it. Now what this one does is it gives me an option, a drop down list, where I can select what visit information I'm interested in. Just select it and it provides me all the information in. So now this is how we create it. Very straightforward, simple. On the other hand, the book also asks you to create a subform. So a subform, to create the subform, you will need to click on this particular control and put it somewhere here. Now you see the wizard is showing up because I activated it. Now it is asking me to create a subform, and this subform is based on existing tables and queries. So I'll go next, and I will select my particular table that I want it to be based on. I want it to be based on the subform based on the billing table. So what I want to select from here, I will select everything except for the visit ID. We'll put it back. Go next. Now they are connected, the subform and the main form, and we'll just go finish. Alright, so now I have everything that I want, and I need a little bit of alignment, and so I need to adjust the length of this guy. So now let's see here, it is connected, and this guy, I need to activate it again. It's not good enough yet. A little bit more. thing, so let's save it as form 4, and now it should be fine. Alright, now I need to create calculated controls in the subform. So to display, what it's asking me here is to display here the total amount, because in some cases, as you can see here, I have multiple billings, and I want to calculate the total of those invoices, and I want to know how many invoices were there, number of invoices, and I want them to be displayed here. So in this case, you will need to do the calculation in the subform first, and this is a tricky step, so you will need to be careful and follow closely what I will do right now. So I am selecting the subform here. I'll right click on this subform, and I will say subform in new window. So I'll select subform in a new window. What I will do here is I'll just expand this, increase the footer, and then I will put this information. I will put the text box here. So I'll increase the footer. Let's see. Okay. So I'll see if it will allow me if I created a control here in the bottom or on the top. So I'll increase that footer and then go to design, and then I will select a text box. Which one is a text box? This guy. Here we go. Now I have this text box. I can just give it a meaningful name. I will call it total, but it has to have txt as, and then control source, what source I want it to be. Let's see, so I will just do that for now, control source. Then I will need to click on this guy. Alright, now this is the total, means I need to put a formula here or a function, so sum, and then I will need to put invoice amount. Here it is. Alright, let's see here. Invoice amount. And then the other one I will add is, let's see, box, the, hold on. Hi, can you hold on? I need to record really quick.
Okay,
so
I can wait. You want me out? Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
just let me know.
Okay, yeah, I'll come when I finish.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me see. Now when we create this count, let's see. I'll just call it text, maybe count invoice. And then I will go to the control source again, and I will just put the function. I will call it count, and then let's see if it will work. Count, and then invoice number. Double click on this, close that parentheses, say OK. So now give them both good names, so save, then close this subform. Now I'll just go to the design view here, and I'll create forms that controls or text boxes that can call what I just created in the subform. So in this case, what I will do is I will look for let's see here, and then I will just click on this guy that I just created. I called it text tx. So I'll go to the subform. So this is the form, and this is the subform I just dealt with. So I called it text total. Double click on this guy, say OK. And the other one, so let's see if it will work. Yep, it worked. So the second one is label. Text. You can do the same thing. Go here, The other one I called it count. So in the second step, I don't put an equal. I just double click the text calculated field that I just created. So let's see here. Second one is I'm looking for the subform, but I just put my calculated field in, text total, and then text count invoice. That's the one I created. Click OK. Great. So now it's working. So now that's how we add calculated controls. The book also talks about the control tip. For example, here I can put a control tip. This basically, when you hover over that text, it will show, for example, the word that you want it to be. For example, here I put the control tip on this to be total, and you can see that there is text called total when I hover and stay over that text. The tab order also is very helpful, because in your project you will need to use the tab order because it makes your productivity much better. So it seems to be this particular form is already has the tab order design. So 0, and this one is 1, and so on. So that's it for today, and look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Alright, thanks.